What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today I've got for you a story from r/BestOfRedditorSagas, which is absolutely ridiculous. And the beauty of this story is that we get to see the perspective of both the husband involved and the wife. I don't want to give any more hints as to what happens here, but we're going to start with the husband's perspective and then we're going to jump over to the wife's. Stay tuned for both. Sit back, relax, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's get into this. Am I the jerk for calling every morning? This was originally posted on November the 29th, 2022 on r/AmITheJerk. My son is a 20-month-old toddler. My wife is a stay-at-home mum. I work 6 days a week and I'm usually gone for 12 hours a day. I always check in on my son remotely via our nursery cam app, and he's always awake in the mornings at around 8 AM. He has a great sleep routine. Our wind down time starts at the same time every evening. We clean up toys, read a book. When I lay him down, he's still awake, but he falls asleep on his own and sleeps all night for at least 12 hours. It's usually after 9 o'clock before I have a chance to check the camera. This morning, when I checked, it was 9:12, and some mornings are closer to 10. Every time I look though, he's awake, in the dark, and standing in his crib, just waiting. When I see this, I immediately turn on the brightest nightlight the camera has and speak to him through the camera app. I always tell him good morning and I love him, and he usually laughs and says, "Dada." Then I leave the app and I call my wife to wake her up. I usually have to call 3 to 4 times, and when she finally answers, it's obvious that she just woke up, and it's only because I called. I tell her that our son is awake, waiting for her, and that she needs to get up to start their day. This morning, while on the phone, I asked her if she was going to get him after using the bathroom, and she said no, she was going to the kitchen to prepare their breakfast, and then she'd get him. I asked her to get him after the bathroom so he could go to the kitchen with her, and she flipped out. She told me it annoys her a lot that I call every morning to tell her how to be a mum and that she has a routine. I retorted with, "Well, your routine sucks because he's been awake for an hour and you'd still be asleep if I hadn't called. It just bothers me that he has to wait so long. He needs a diaper change. He's probably thirsty, hungry, and just wants to play. Am I wrong though? Do I need to stop? Please be completely honest with your answers. Thanks." Okay, so my immediate reaction off the bat for this one is that your wife OP just has to get up earlier. Like, if you're a mum or a dad or a parent or whatever, like, you have to get up with your kids. That's part of being a parent. I know a lot of you watching and listening to this right now are parents yourselves, and I think you'd agree with me that you don't get much sleep as a parent compared to when you don't have kids, because you have to get up with your kids. And obviously kids naturally wake up very early, and a lot of the time they can be disruptive in the night, etc. It's just part of being a parent. You can't have your kids be awake for over an hour just doing nothing in the dark, in their cot or whatever, in their bed, and you're just asleep. It just doesn't work. Like, it's not about you, it's about them. Also, if your kid is sleeping for 12 hours, then that's more than enough time for you to get loads of sleep. Like, at least you're required 8 hours or whatever it is that you require. So maybe OP's wife is going to bed too late, or they're disrupted in the night. To be fair, there is a lot of context here that we don't have, that we're going to get as this story progresses. But yeah, just off the rip, I would say, just based on the first few paragraphs, OP's wife needs to get up. Okay, now jumping into the next section, OP has given us a lot more context here and explained more things about his wife, saying, "There are so many things that need to be addressed about this post, and the most important one is about my wife. I love her more than anyone on Reddit thinks I do. She is an amazing woman and a wonderful mother. I absolutely do not think she is an incompetent parent, nor do I think she neglects my son. None of the information I provided was ever supposed to convey that negative message about her. My whole issue was, he's awake, he's been awake, why are you still asleep?" And she agreed. She stays up too late, plus has alarms set now. Okay, easy. I showed my wife how this post exploded, and she could not believe the kind of attention it got. She is very much in love with me and does not agree that I'm controlling, nor does she believe that I am micromanaging her daily life. Also, because so many people believe that I intentionally left out the medical issues she has, I will list them here. Postpartum depression, low vitamin B12, and chronic fatigue. Okay, well, those are quite important deficiencies and medical issues, I will say. That is very important context. Anyway, OP continues. Now, let me explain why I didn't list them originally. Her low vitamin B12 is not a deficiency. Her level is just lower than what is considered best for her age. This is according to recent blood work that I recommended. The results state that any number between 100 pg per ml and 914 pg per ml is within normal range, and her level is 253 pg per ml. The doctor suggested sublingual B12 1000 mcg daily to raise the level a little, but stated that apart from that, she could not find a reason for the chronic fatigue. Because of these results, and especially after purchasing the supplements, in my mind, the B12 is not a problem. Also, the blood work confirmed that everything else was normal. The postpartum depression is actively being monitored and treated by a professional. My wife literally goes to a psychiatrist or psychologist, I can't remember their exact title, multiple times a year, and we pay for medication every 30 days. She initially tried depression medication, followed the regimen religiously, and not much changed for her. This was addressed in a following appointment, and a new medication was prescribed. Her current medication is normally used to treat ADHD or narcolepsy, and the doctor believed it would alleviate some of her tiredness and release more dopamine, thus providing more energy in her daily life. This does seem to be true, and she seems to be happy with the medicine. The chronic fatigue is a result of her own poor scheduling and personal health. She has agreed. She spends too much time sitting and using the phone. She naps when our son naps and has trouble falling asleep at a normal bedtime hour due to this daytime sleep. We always go to bed together, and she's told me multiple times that she's moved to the living room after I fall asleep because she couldn't sleep and was bored just lying there. Then, midnight or later comes, she's finally drowsy and decides to sleep. However, the overstimulation from social media and phone usage makes it difficult for her brain to reach REM sleep normally. So she falls asleep at 12, our son wakes up at 8 hours have passed, and she still feels tired and not at all rested. I do know and have known about her condition. We've agreed to disagree about the cause of her sleeping problems. In her mind, she has chronic fatigue because of insomnia, and it's a vicious cycle. In my mind, she stays up too late on the phone and doesn't get the sleep her body needs. Whether the internet thinks she's a bad mother, negligent, lazy, or abusive isn't important. I know and love the woman I married. I do feel comfortable leaving her with our kid, and she does an amazing job with him. In a few comments, I stated that she was lazy and didn't do much at home. I won't deny those statements, but in the moment I was still aggravated because the argument over the phone had just recently ended. I don't truly think she's lazy because I've seen what she can do. I just think she's unmotivated due to a lack of sleep and the same four walls every day. Finally, I'm not spying on her or my son. We only have 2 cameras in this house, and both are in our son's room. One camera provides a wide-angle view of the entire room, and the other is positioned directly above his crib. The cameras serve no purpose during the day because I'd barely be able to hear background noise from another room, even if I did try to listen in. My wife is an amazing woman and an amazing mother. My son is just so happy all the time. He's super smart, full of energy, and extremely healthy. I will not be hiring a nanny or using a daycare. There's absolutely nothing wrong with what my wife does during the day. I just wish she'd start her day earlier for my little man. I want to say thank you to everyone who commented on this post and messaged me. My wife and I had a long, in-depth conversation last night after all of the attention this post received, and I've shown her everything. There were tears, much more laughs, and a lot of things to think about. I think the most important thing we learned is that so many people are quick to judge, and that in itself is a very big problem. Also, I need to make it clear that my wife does not have narcolepsy. She's not taking medicine for narcolepsy. I said that the medicine she takes now is usually used to treat narcolepsy or ADHD. She also does not have ADHD. The second thing we learned is that people love to add details and change the story. Okay, so there we go. A little bit more context that I asked for. To be honest, I'm still big on the husband's side here. I think what's going to happen here is the story will flip. As we get his wife's side of the story, I think things will become more apparent, but I'm only going to take what I've read so far. I'm not going to assume anything. And I think he's fine, to be demanding this of his wife, that she gets up at the same time as their son. Like, that is a normal thing to expect and want. Like, one of the parents has to be awake when the kid gets up. Or what, you've just got a 20-month-old toddler just alone in their room in the dark. Like, that's not right. That's like bordering on, not abusive, but that's terrible parenting, isn't it? You can't just leave a kid alone in the dark for hours. That's insane. And if it's the case that she does have poor bedtime practice and she's napping in the day, to me it sounds like those are two pretty fixable things if you wanted to fix them. You know, don't take the nap in the day, be more tired in the day, then don't go on your phone late at night, limit the blue light, limit the screens, and in theory you'll be more tired earlier and go to sleep earlier. This is with the context of OP saying that she doesn't have narcolepsy, doesn't have insomnia, or that, you know, her lack of being able to sleep comes from her own actions rather than any real things that she's dealing with from a medical perspective, I suppose. If that isn't the case, then I think my opinion would change, of course. But based on what I've read so far, it seems like OP's wife needs to make some changes, and everything that OP is demanding is very reasonable. Okay, now I'll read through some comments from OP, responding to other comments, of course, on Reddit. We went to bed together at 8:39 last night. How much sleep does she need, and how long should he be forced to wait in the dark without food or toys? One thing I'll say to that is 8:39 is early if she only needs to get up at, say, 7:30 to be ready for your toddler. That might actually be a negative thing. It's okay to go to bed at different times, I think. I mean, if you're going to bed at 8:39, then for a lot of people who sleep maybe, 7-8 hours, you're getting up at maybe 6. Your wife may not want to get up as early as that, and that is completely fine if she doesn't have to. So it might be better for her to go to sleep slightly later and not just therefore be lying in bed at 8:39, 9, when in reality she'll naturally be more tired at, say, 10 if she's waking up later than you, OP, in general. So that's something to think about. Another comment says, thank you, that's all it is. I'm not controlling. She prefers to stay at home, she has her own vehicle, she can leave whenever she wants. All I care about is his development, and it bothers me that the first quarter of his time awake before his nap is spent in the dark, alone, and bored. Yeah, extremely fair. Others are saying that I'm controlling and she lives like a prisoner, but he is the priority in my mind. It's our fault he's here. It is what it is. Someone else said that maybe he's spying on him. No, I'm not spying on him. I just miss him. When I see him wide awake, beaming with energy, but stuck in the dark, it bothers me. And I feel like it's my duty as his father to help. Am I really wrong for this? No, in my opinion, you're not. Is it so hard to bring a toddler to the kitchen to play with magnets on a refrigerator while you prepare a small meal? Do you really think it's right for a toddler to wake up and be forced to wait in the dark for 2 hours before their caregiver arrives to provide the attention and love they so desperately need in the early years? I know he sleeps through the night, and if he didn't, for some reason, I would have woken up as well and known about it. Also, I never expect her to spend every second of the day with him. I don't even do that when I'm home. But why can't she get up at a decent hour? Shouldn't a mother adjust her schedule to fit the child? Yes, absolutely. A sleep study, he continues, confirmed that she doesn't have sleep apnea, depression medicine didn't work, so now she's taking medicine that usually treats narcolepsy or ADHD. She had blood tests done not too long ago, and according to the doctor, everything is fine, and they didn't find a cause for her chronic fatigue, except for a lower than average B12 level. I bought B12 supplements as per the doctor's request, but she forgets to take them, and when she's awake, she sits on the couch, browsing social media almost all day long. Do you honestly believe that it's acceptable to go to bed at 9 and sleep until 12, even though you have a toddler at home that wakes up at 8? I shouldn't have to be there, nor should I have to spend money on someone to care for my child when his mother is perfectly capable. I swear, she doesn't do much of anything around the house other than sit on the couch looking at TikTok or Facebook. But this isn't a post about a lazy wife. It's a post about a father who wishes his child's mother could provide a better structure for the child. Her schedule needs work, and she cannot continue to just sleep in until she is ready to get up. Also, He does cry when he's waited long enough, and that's what wakes her on the days that I'm just too busy at work. I'm not spying on her. We literally do not talk at all during the day until I'm back home, except for this one time in the mornings. And there is no routine. That's the issue for me. If it weren't for me, he'd be fed and allowed playtime at very different times every day. I agree with the benefits of alone time, but isn't it a bit much to keep him waiting for more than an hour and sometimes more than 2 hours? Now, people in the comments were saying that the child's safe or he wasn't crying, so he must be fine. They're absolutely correct. However, when I'm home, I jump out of bed and go in there singing my good morning song when I hear that he's awake. I don't think I'm fostering anything negative in the development of his personality. I genuinely cannot wait to see him smile at me. I cannot wait to hear him say my name. I cannot wait to watch him throw his hands up and tell me, "Up, up." I love bonding with him. I love interacting with him, and I love letting him follow me around the house while I do adult things. He is my little sidekick. Yes, the decision for a child was mutual. She doesn't do anything but feed him, lay him down at nap time, wash dishes, and browse social media on the couch. This post was never about a lazy wife, but about a father who wants a more consistent structure to be provided to his child. We agreed she'd be a stay-at-home mum. She wants this, and I make a good living. When I'm home, my son and I don't exist. I'm up at 5 every morning for work, and up by 7 on the mornings that I'm home. And he does eventually cry. When I don't call, his crying is what eventually wakes her up. And finally, she wanted the cameras. Okay, now that is all we have from the husband's side. And as I said in the introduction, the brilliance of this post and this saga, I suppose, is that his wife has input on this. And we're going to read all her comments that she left on TikTok concerning this, of course. Now, with that in mind, and with the lack of the wife's side of the story so far, I can only really go based on what the husband has said. And I'm not going to assume too much about his wife because we're going to get into that very quickly from her side of the story. But again, like, I am on his side here. And what's interesting is looking at the comments on Reddit, the guy was rated as the jerk here, that he was in the wrong, that he was micromanaging, that he was arguably controlling her. I don't agree with that at all. And maybe you guys can tell me that I'm wrong in the comments down below. And I'm sure that a lot of you would disagree with me on this, and that's completely fine. That's sort of what this is about. But I put myself in his shoes. And if I'm at work, right, and we've agreed that my wife's going to be a stay-at-home mum, I'm going to go to work early, get up at 5, you know, that's early, like that's tough to do, and work all day and earn the money for the household. But she can't get up at 8 to look after our kid, who is then just left in the dark for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. That's not good enough. I'm sorry, it just isn't. So yeah, I'd be saying, look, why can't you get up? Now, that is my opinion without any other medical context. We have had some medical context, of course, with the B12 stuff and the chronic fatigue and the postpartum depression. That all obviously plays into it. But I think just from like a very blunt human perspective, and this is what we're reading here from OP, he's just saying, it's like, this can't carry on. It's not good enough and it's not fair on my child, which I think is reasonable. So the next question is, how do we fix this? And how do we get to sort of an agreement or a positive change for everyone? And I think that is probably where OP is going wrong, in that he is not seemingly offering any help to his wife at all, and maybe doesn't actually fully know what's going on with her. It does seem strange, to be fair, that she is in theory going to sleep early and then sleeping for such a long time and is still tired. But then again, I mean, it sounds as if money has been spent on therapy, sleep tests. He's getting her the B12 that she needs. I don't know. Like, until we hear his wife's perspective, I'm on his side. Simple as that. Anyway, let's now get in to the next part of the episode. And this is where it gets really interesting, because we get to hear exactly what is going on from OP's wife's perspective. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, the next part of this entire episode is going to be the wife's perspective. So what happened is she found a TikTok quite similar to this, of a TikTok user narrating her husband's post which was originally posted on, r/AmIThejerk, and the comments and stuff as well. And she then messaged that TikToker giving her side of the story. She said, "Hi, I saw your TikTok a few days ago about the Am I the Jerk for calling every morning. I am the wife of the poster. I saw a lot of comments saying, I want to hear his wife's side, or I bet he didn't tell his wife. Well, I'm reaching out to you to tell you my side. I do not mind you posting about this on TikTok, but I'd like to remain anonymous. I'm going to try to explain a little bit more about my health issues. So I do see a psychiatrist once a month. When I first went, I was diagnosed with the following: anxiety, bipolar, manic depression, insomnia, ADHD, and a few others I can't remember. They're not important anyway. So I'm currently taking a medication now that does usually treat ADHD and narcolepsy. I actually just went and saw the psychiatrist, a new one, yesterday, and she told me I don't have ADHD, I have ADD. I do not have narcolepsy. I'm not sure how anyone thought I did, considering he said I'm on a medication that is usually used to treat those things. So the tiredness. He states that the issue is that I sit on the couch on my phone all day long. Now, I am on my phone on social media a lot during the day. However, it's not all day, as I do have to take care of our son. So I play with him most of the day. I do the dishes, I fix his lunch, and then I lay him down for his nap, and I go to the room and have me time on social media or watch Netflix for 2 to 3 hours while my son sleeps. I don't get a whole lot of sleep at night because of the insomnia, and I don't nap during the day anymore. We usually lay our son down at like 8, like he said, and he's usually asleep within 15 minutes, and we'll both come to the room. However, he will watch YouTube, and I'll watch Netflix or get on social media once again. This will go on until roughly 10 to 10:30, depending on how tired my husband is. Eventually, after 1 to 2 hours, I get tired of just laying there, and I go to the living room and get back on my phone. Between 12 and 1, I go back to the room and I lay there for another 1 to 2 hours before I finally fall asleep. My husband will wake me at around 5 to give me a kiss before he gets out of bed and starts getting ready for work. This is the time I get the best sleep. I guess because he's not in the bed. I don't wake up in the mornings because when my son wakes up, he lays there talking to himself and it isn't loud enough for me to hear until he starts getting excited about certain words or making certain sounds. I know this because he does this every time he wakes up from a nap. Once I hear him, I do get up. I use the bathroom, I go to the kitchen, I make his breakfast and his drink and get his high chair ready, and then I go and get him. This takes maybe 15 minutes. A lot of people were saying that our son is neglected, and he's most definitely not, in any way. Some were saying that he's learned that crying didn't get him anywhere. Anytime he cries, I go to him, no matter what. Our son is always a happy baby unless he is sick. As for the way my husband writes and talks, that's just him. He's always like that. He posted it because he wanted to know if he was in the wrong for calling me and waking me up and telling me that I needed to get him as soon as I finished using the bathroom, or if he should have just left me alone. When he posted it, he didn't think that it was going to blow up like it did, but boy was he wrong. The only time he gets on the camera is in the mornings, anywhere between 8 and 10 a.m. It just depends on how busy he is at work and finally has a minute to get on it. I am the sole caregiver for our child, which was mutual. I actually brought it up first. It is very stressful and lonely at times. But I don't need help, as he is our child and my responsibility to care for while my husband is at work. Adult interaction? Yes. My husband does love me very much, even though a lot of people think he doesn't. He is the reason that I finally went and got my blood work done, because he kept telling me I needed to go find out what was wrong with me and why I'm so tired all the time. I didn't want to go because I was scared something could be terribly wrong. Thankfully, it wasn't, just semi-low B12. He did get me the medicine my doctor suggested I take, but as he said, I forget to take it. I forget things very easily. I also need to have that checked, but I don't want to, as I'm scared something could be wrong. As for his controlling and micromanaging, I do not think he's either of those things. However, the way he says some things to me or approaches things does seem like he is, but I can assure you he isn't. I love my husband very much. As for all the comments saying she's a trash mum, she's neglectful, she's abusive, she's disgusting, she is a lazy C-word, and all the other many horrible comments towards me, they were extremely hurtful. Again, I'll say, I'm not neglectful. My son is well fed, bathed, happy, and extremely smart for him to be almost 2 and have been born 2 months early. He's very well taken care of. I'm most definitely not abusive. I would never hurt my child in any way. I love my son with everything in me. He's literally my whole world, and I would do anything for him. The only bad thing that I was doing was sleeping longer than I should have and making him wait an extra 15 to 20 minutes on a diaper change because I didn't want him running around, climbing on everything while I was trying quickly to get his breakfast ready. But seeing how many people say that I was a trash mum for that, I've now been setting a few alarms and getting up and going straight to him to change him and then taking him with me to fix his breakfast. I just want to say thank you for not bashing me like everyone else. Also, I just want to add, when he mentioned I usually have to call 3 or 4 times, I hear my phone ringing, but I know it's him, so I ignore it as I'm getting up. I'm so sorry that this is long, and I know you're getting tired of hearing about this post, but I just wanted to hopefully clear up a few things and kind of share my side. I'm not sure if I did too good of a job though. Also, sorry it's a few days after everything, I couldn't decide if I actually wanted to respond to everything or not. But ultimately, I just wanted to let everyone know I'm not a bad mum like everyone thinks I am, and that my husband really isn't that bad. Alright, sometimes guys, I know when I read out certain stories that my opinion is probably going to be different to a lot of yours in the comments down below. This is definitely one of those stories, because I've read the comments on Reddit, I've read some comments on TikTok, and I also know what you guys are like. But I cannot get on this woman's side much at all. It just isn't making any sense to me. I don't get it. It seems like the whole of the internet is sort of on this woman's side. And from my perspective, I feel like without her husband helping her out, you know, telling her to go to the doctor, get her bloods done, giving her the B12 medication she needs, asking her to get up earlier and not let their son just be alone for an hour and a half every morning, she wouldn't be doing those things, and that would be potentially terrible for her own health and bad for her son. Is that crazy to say? I don't think it is. Perhaps it's verging on controlling this behavior. I don't think it is at all. Yes, like, it is micromanaging, but I think this woman needs to be micromanaged, which is a crazy thing to say. And you guys that know me and have watched these videos and listened to me for years know that is like, this is a very isolated opinion that I have about this one couple. Like, you know, these sort of themes are not inherent within me. Let me make that abundantly clear if you didn't know me that well. But I can't get on board with the people that are backing up this woman. I just can't. To me, it just doesn't sound as if she is doing that well in terms of parenting. Then again, like, the baby's really happy. There's nothing that wrong with a baby having some alone time in the morning, I suppose. But it's like, you can't leave a baby for an hour and a half in the morning when their diaper needs to be changed. That is what I'm just coming back to. And if she can't understand that, and it takes her husband to tell her not to do that for the sake of their own child, then I don't see anything wrong with that. In fact, I think it's a positive thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there for saying that. That's just 100% what I feel, and I've got to say what I feel. Now, interestingly, the TikTok poster commented on the original Best of Reddit update sort of thread when this was originally compiled on Reddit. That same TikTok poster who the wife messaged, and she said this: "I was wondering if this was going to make it here. Something my followers and I noticed was how she seemed to downplay her own mental illness. Many of my commenters also pointed out that outdated ADD diagnosis and found that problematic. I also questioned the validity, but she had a real profile and everything. I ended the story time just by saying that no one should be treating anyone this way, especially their partners. It sounds really bad, but we'll never know their relationship as well as they do. I still thought the husband was terrible for even sending Reddit after her like he did. Lastly, I wished her well. How wild." Is that really what was going on though? Or was the husband just genuinely looking out for his son? That's how I'm reading into this. And the mum is asleep for an hour and a half until 10 a.m. Like, that just isn't good enough. And from my perspective, he has tried to help her quite a lot for all the reasons I've mentioned. I agree with you though. She does seem to be downplaying her own mental illness. And again, as I said earlier in the video, if there is a lot more at stake here, and if, you know, she's suffering with depression, I mean, we know about the postpartum depression, etc., then that is something that needs to be looked into. Of course it is. But ultimately, you brought this child into the world. Therefore, your number one priority has to be looking after it for both of you. And in my opinion, that the husband is just looking out for his kid. Okay, now to round this story off, we have a couple of more posts on r/AmITheJerk from the husband, the original poster. The first one is, "Am I the jerk for telling my wife I don't want to help her mother?" This was posted on March 29th, 2023, so that's 4 months after the post about calling every morning. "My wife called me at work to ask if she could spend money to rent a storage unit for 1 month because her mum would soon be evicted and need somewhere to store her things. Her mum's boyfriend is in jail, but he promised to pay me back with money he's expecting from a lawsuit. I told her no. The amount of money is modest and almost insignificant, but they've offered no collateral and there's always something going on with them. I have my own obligations to attend to. My wife's grandpa lives there and is on disability, which I believe provides most of the income. My wife's sister and her boyfriend also live in the house and they have a baby who's less than a year old. There's another couple staying there too. In the household, there are currently 5 capable adults, 1 disabled elderly man. They've all been living without electricity for probably a month. The vehicles they have are either not legal or in poor condition. The city is about to disconnect their water, and state authorities recently removed a former tenant who is a mentally challenged man in his 50s because of these issues. The elderly man doesn't work for obvious reasons. The sister is an erotic dancer. Her boyfriend did work, but I think his employment was terminated. And the mother, her boyfriend, and the other couple are also unemployed. I work, my wife does not, and we have a 2-year-old. I'm slowly rebuilding my credit after paying off all my debt. I've started investing small portions every pay period, and I think I'll be able to pay off our house this year if I keep walking a straight line. My priority is living comfortably while securing a sound future for my family, and I won't allow the poor decisions of other irresponsible adults to cause delays in my life. Am I wrong to refuse to help?" For me, no, you're not the jerk here at all. And I think that this post in isolation sort of sums up how I feel about OP overall. Like, I think he is just genuinely trying to do the best things for his family and for his kid. And I think this is another example of that. And going back to like what this whole episode has been about, I do genuinely think that is what he is doing with asking his wife to get up earlier to look after their kid. I think it is as simple as that. Again, I'll be really interested to read your comments on this episode more than most others, to be honest, because I know that a lot of you will disagree. I just have to say what I think. And then one last final Am I the Jerk post. Am I the jerk for complaining every time my wife washes dishes with the water running almost the entire time? This is from April 2023. The way my wife washes dishes bothers me so much. She doesn't plug one side of the sink, fill it with soapy water, wash multiple dishes at once, and then rinse dishes in bulk. Instead, she fills one side of the sink with dry, dirty dishes, turns on the water, lets it run constantly, periodically applies more soap to a brush or sponge, washes one dish at a time, rinses the dish, places it on the drying rack, and then repeats this until completion. When I notice her washing dishes in this manner, I tell her to stop wasting water. She always rolls her eyes and tells me to go away. I pay for water monthly. It's not expensive, but when she does this, I see it as wasting money. I'm anxious to hear what everyone on Reddit has to say about this one. Am I the jerk? Okay. God, this has been such a confusing read. Right. This is obviously a terrible post from OP. And reading this, it makes me question everything, because this is such a bad post. This is the definition of controlling and just so unnecessary. And it's quite weird to asking your wife, like, would you mind just have you considered changing your strategy a little bit with washing dishes just to save more water? But instead going on Reddit and saying, oh my god, I hate my wife because she does this, am I the jerk for asking her? That's sort of what it sounds like anyway to me. That's strange. I will concede. Now, maybe I've not been seeing this side of OP throughout this entire post. It's just a tough one. It just is a tough one, because I do see it from the other perspective, from the perspective of his wife maybe has serious health issues. She's trying her best. She's downplaying the health issues, but she's just dealing with a lot right now, medically, emotionally, whatever. Chronic fatigue is an extremely serious thing, of course, and sometimes it can't be diagnosed, as in like there's no reason for it. It just happens. This is like so. It's a tough one for me. It really is. I don't know. I don't think ADHD is a good enough reason to not get up and deal with your kid. I mean, I'm not a parent, right? So it comes down to this. Is a kid all right to be left alone for an hour and a half when they wake up in their room? They're not crying, so they're not like in a bad mood. They're just chilling out, and their diaper needs to be changed. You help me answer that question, because I'm not a parent, so I don't know. To me, that sounds like terrible parenting. Even them being left alone for an hour and a half in the dark when they're awake, like that doesn't sound like good parenting to me at all. And again, I'm not a parent. I don't know these things, so let me know. To me, if I was like, if I became a father tomorrow, I would want to be awake when my kid wakes up and like spend their morning with them, get them out of their dark room into the light, play with them. If I'm making them breakfast or whatever, or cleaning up or doing something, they'd be there with me. I get it, like alone time's not a bad thing, but not for an hour and a half every day. And also I change their diaper. I think that's a fair comment. This is such a tough one for me, because I know I can already read the comments on this video and on the podcast, and I know that you guys are going to be saying you have so much to learn. How you're not seeing this from her perspective? I'm just being honest. The guy's trying to help out his family. Yeah, he's too controlling, but also his kid's left in bed. He has to get up to go to work at 5 a.m. and his wife's asleep at 10 a.m. That objectively this can't happen. And again, I go back to my point. There's a difference between someone being controlling, and I get it. He is clearly a controlling man, but forget about that last post. Just forget these two, just in general. I think there's a difference between somebody actually trying to help you out in your life and saying, look, this can't happen because it's not good enough for our child, or someone actually being very controlling and saying, you need to get up now, do this, when you were perfectly fine anyway. And I genuinely think that this story is leaning towards the former than the latter. However, it's clear that this guy is controlling. So maybe I'm wrong. It's just like, I can't sit here and honestly say to you guys listening and watching this that the wife is 100% in the right, because I don't believe she is. And I get it, she's probably going through loads, but the guy's got to go to work at he's got to get up at 5. That's got to count for something. I don't know. It's just tough. It's a tough one for me. One thing I will say, which is pretty ridiculous from the guy's point of view, is that he gets up at 5 and gives her a kiss every morning that wakes her up, knowing that she has chronic fatigue and that she needs more sleep. That is insane. Like, I think you'd want to come to some sort of situation where either you sleep in separate rooms so that she can really like nail her sleep when she does fall asleep. The point is, I don't think she is getting the full help from her husband that she deserves. But I do also think that she should be helping herself more in general. Like, it doesn't matter how tired you are. For me, you have to get up when your kid is up. Like, if you have 2 hours sleep, it doesn't matter. You just have to. Like, you have to change your kid's diaper when it needs changing. That is just neglect if you don't do that. A lot of people in the comments are saying ADHD, ADD, it sort of accounts for this sort of stuff. Yeah, it does, but also then get your medication, which you've had, which will improve things. And then a massive thing with ADHD is that you still have to be able to help yourself. Like ADHD medication doesn't just fix things. It really helps you a lot, but you have to put the work in yourself to get the benefit and to understand the things that you need to work on. For example, I mean, I've suffered not suffered, it's been a choice, but like my sleep has been awful my entire life in terms of when I go to sleep. Like, for years I would go to sleep at 4, 5, 6 a.m, get up super late. That is something that I sort of let happen. And I mean, I'm taking ADHD medication at the moment. I do have ADHD, but being diagnosed with ADHD and then taking ADHD medication doesn't immediately fix my sleeping pattern. It helps in lots of other regards, and I get stuff done like quicker and better, but I still have to be the one when it comes to the evening that says, okay, I'm not going to go on my phone anymore. I'm going to keep a reasonable sleeping pattern, etc. Medication doesn't just fix that. So I don't know. I'm going to end this by being honest and saying I still am on slightly, very slightly, because I do think he's a controlling man and I don't like that aspect, but I am still on the husband's side if the main point from his perspective is for the benefit of his family and his son. Gonna leave it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I've rambled for a very, very long time there, but hope you enjoyed, and don't be too angry in the comments. I will see you there.